Before we get started, we've had a delivery. So this is it. It's an NSR high performance motor. And why, you're probably asking, have I ordered this? All will be revealed in due course, hopefully before Christmas. A couple of weeks ago, if you look at my previous video, you will see that I went out and bought an AutoArt Porsche 911 GT3 RS in Viper Green. I took the magnets out, took it on a little test drive to see how it ran, and it was a bit worrying, I'll be honest. It didn't run as well as I thought it was going to, but now is the time to do a proper track test on this car to find just how fast the GT3 RS can go around my track. Okay folks, it is now time to find out how fast this pretty heavy AutoArt Porsche GT3 RS can get around my track. As usual, we'll be giving it some warm-up laps, at least 10 warm-up laps to get the motor warm, get the tyres warm, and then we'll go for it with a 10-lap speed test. So we're warming the car up now on the traditional minimum 10 laps. Get those tyres warm, get that motor warm. We already know from the previous test we did with this car that it has a real tendency not only for the back end to slide, but for the front end to skip off the track. So when I do this speed test, I've got to be mindful that this car could literally jump off the track if I'm not really careful. So I'm going to be careful with that. However, the advantage it has is the deceleration when you take your finger off the trigger is pretty fast. So you can go much further towards the corner before taking your finger off the trigger. So you can go a lot faster down the straight as long as you don't do that. So that's where I've got to be careful of. Okay, so let's get this car on the track and try not to crash it as I do a 10-lap run. As usual, we are going to use the Arc 1 using the Magic Arc software. Going into the lap timer mode, and we're going to select the usual settings. Now, last time I was driving the Hurricane, so I'm going to change that. And this time we're going to select the Porsche GT3 RS, which I've already programmed in. So we've got the correct car, we've got me driving it, we just hit prepare, and this is it. This is where we find out how fast this GT3 RS can go around my track. Let's go. So far, doing well. Managing not to slide that back end too much, and of course, not to take the front end up so much that it comes off the track. Doing well, doing well. A little bit of skidding on that back end now. Trying not to make it skid. Accelerating hard through the speed test. See how fast I can get a top speed out of it. I'm feeling pretty confident with this. I think it's going to set a good record. Oh, skidding there. But there we are, we've done the 10 laps. that is the 10 lap test. Let's bring her in and see the final result. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final result. This is where we find out how fast the Porsche GT3 RS can go around my track. So we're going on to statistics now. And there we have the car. So we've got the Porsche GT3 RS. Race time, 54 seconds for a 10 lap run. That's good. That's really good. Far better than I expected, in fact. And that means it's going to be a pretty fast top speed, I'm guessing, as well. And it is. It's set a top speed of 227 miles per hour, which is absolutely astounding. So basically, it's pretty well matching the speed that the tuned Lamborghini Gallardo. Even though this car is straight box fresh without any tuning. That's a pretty good result. In fact, a highly surprising result, given that it's box fresh straight out of the box, and of course that it has that liability to skip off the track. Okay, so let's just have a very brief look at the lap times in a bit more detail. So as we can see, the lap times initially slow as usual, getting faster. Each lap we do is getting faster and faster and faster. It appears that my fastest lap, as usual on this thing, is towards the end, lap 9. And it does seem to be, actually, lap 9 is always my fastest lap. Whether that's because I've got used to the track and I'm going at my best. In terms of the actual top speed, that was achieved on lap 8, which is interesting. So that was the fastest I managed to get it to go through the speed trap. I think it's time now, we've got a few cars in the collection, to start bringing up a league table of just how well this GT3 RS has done. That was a surprisingly good result for this AutoArt Porsche GT3 RS, given that the fact that the back end has a massive tendency to skip, and that with the magnets removed, that the front end literally can skip off the track. So I had to counter all of those issues while I was driving it. The result from this car was far better than I actually expected. It was a really good result, given that it's box fresh, hasn't been tuned in any way at all. So I'm actually really pleased with this car, far better than I thought. So there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. As usual, have fun, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.